It's almost that time. Well, like 2-3 weeks roughly. But that also may change. Release dates for IKORIA LAIR of Behemoths may be delayed. We'll get into that in just a moment. But this set is gearing up to be something really crazy. And it's a set that I personally think I'll be very fond of. And the reason being because the first color I ever got into was green. And what's in green? Well, they're known for really big creatures. With that being said, let's get into the theme and the story of all this. So, LAIR of Behemoths, it's a set in a monster world, okay, called IKORIA. Now, is that maybe something? Are we going to see Kiora maybe appear in this? I don't know. But that's just something I want to throw out there. It's about creating your own monsters. So that you can kind of like run on tangents with. But I think we're going to get a little bit more in depth in how that would actually work and how the mechanic would be. How can you form a monster, I guess is a question. But maybe we can explain that. A new mechanic will complement well with building your own monsters. Mutate, maybe. Right. Like, are we going to see some kind of like mutation mechanic where you have this creature, or if you have a counter on this, you can use that counter in order to use an ability on another creature or something like that. You know, like this creature becomes with this one, and then you got to spend 3 to do something like that to take an ability. I don't know. We're going to learn a lot about this. Also, Vivian Reed, she's graced some of the artwork. I did not have that present right now, but that's pretty legit. So we're going to see Vivian Reed returning. Also, there's going to be a new Planeswalker and a couple we already know. So I'm maybe assuming Kiora. I don't see why not. I mean, if we've got a lot of these big, huge, crazy monsters and stuff, you know, Leviathans are kind of big. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. We're going to show you some the biggest creatures in the game also. But double-sided keyword counters were on a Wizard's website, but they were taken down. Probably a little too soon for them. So here's just a little taste of some of the biggest creatures in the game right now. Impervious Great Worm, you guys have all seen my decks on that. It's a 16/16 indestructible. It's nuts. And then you have Emrakul, Ion's Torn, which is Eldrazi. But these are going to be more beastly, so I don't believe we're going to go the Eldrazi route in this set. They're more so... This thing's nuts. Just Annihilator 6. What? Come on. This thing is just ridiculously busted. Annihilator 6, for those of you guys who don't know, your opponent has to basically sacrifice 6 of their permanents when this thing attacks. That's nuts. Okay. And then some of the other bigger creatures. Now, I'm sure there's other ones that are even larger than the ones I'm demonstrating here, but I had to throw a Polar Kraken because this is a card I used to play with way back in Ice Age. That was the very first set I got into in Magic. Big old 11-drop, trample, cumulative upkeep, sacrifice a land, comes into play tapped. Stupid, but still, it's a really cool card. I love the artwork on that. Also, you have Progenitus, which is just a monster. Protection from everything. I mean, what more do you want? And if somehow this thing does leave the battlefield, you shuffle it back into the library. It's a 10/10. That's pretty absurd as well. And then you have something that looks like an island, but it's really just that massive. It was just sleeping at the time. It's a 12/12, just huge, giant Kraken. That was printed back in, what Commander, 2018? Very nuts. Really, really cool card that does some nutty stuff. But what else do we know right now about IKORIA? Well, EDH decks. As far as EDH goes, as you guys all are aware, well, you're aware now, they are doing EDH decks or Commander decks. Every new set release, it seems, so far. That seems to be the gist of it. And it's starting with this right here. Not Brawl, not to be confused with Brawl. This is going to be Commander. I believe they're going to have Brawl sets, subsets as well. That hasn't yet to be announced, though. So, Planeswalker decks. Non-core Planeswalker decks. They're going to be discontinued, but will be replaced with a similar product. I think that's good. The Planeswalker decks... They were kind of fun if, you got a buddy or, you're sitting around with the kids or, the woman or whatever, you want to teach her how to play. Have a little bit of fun. Take it out of the box, for $9 to $20, whatever it was. I think they were $19.99 each. Some were like $9.99 when they first came out or $12.99. And you can take it out of the box and have some fun on a Friday night or, teach someone how to play, whatever the case may be. But they're not competitive. They never have been. They never will be, So they're discontinuing that and something's going to be replacing those. That's interesting to know. In this case, IKORIA Commander, codes are probably not going to be seen on Arena. When you open up a Commander, one of these Ikoria Commander decks. And reason being, well, it's Commander. It's not Standard. It's not even Historic. It's not even going to be Brawl. You can't confuse Commander and Brawl. So if they do have something with the Brawl, I mean, that would be like the only way I could see these possibly having any kind of codes for Arena in these Commander decks is if it was something related with Brawl. They slipped it in there or something, but usually they're pretty on target with what they're trying to do. I don't think they'd go that route, but that is something. It could happen, but it doesn't seem highly likely. EDH decks, what kind of decks? What are the colors going to look like? Right now, these are the 5 names. We have Ruthless, Regiment. Now, these are all guesses as to what the colors would be. We got Arcane Maelstrom, Symbiotic Swarm, Timeless Wisdom, Enhanced Evolution. A lot of it just kind of makes sense. You got Enhanced Evolution, that makes sense for like a green-blue kind of deck. Think of Evolution and all that kind of stuff that goes on. The Timeless Wisdom, perhaps black and white, maybe. The Wisdom, that one, I might not be certain on that. These are all just kind of guesses thrown out there, you know, and also information I dug up from other websites. The Maelstrom, that makes sense. Blue and red, that really does. Ruthless Regiment, red and white, that makes a lot of sense with that one. And Symbiotic Swarm, black-green maybe, that kind of could work as well. So there is a little bit of interesting notes there. However, we do have the senior MTG designer, GAVIN VERHEY. Am I saying that right? VERHEY. He did have some teasers for us, and I think this is sweet. You know what's sweet about this? I'm going to tell you right now. Goat Hydra. We're going to get a Goat Hydra, a goat that we can play in our decks, because goat lives matter, and hot diggity darn if it isn't a freaking Hydra. They're splicing goats and Hydras as one. That's going to be fantastic. Now, these are all Commander exclusive for these right here, but just think of the possibilities. Think of, you know, like what thoughts enter your mind. There could be all different kind of stuff. Tigers and lions and bears, all in one. Who knows? These are all new archetypes, too, like Badger Dinosaur. A Badger Dinosaur. Man, that sounds really, really scary. A Whale Wolf. When's the last time you've seen a Whale Wolf? This really cool, like, splashes together a cat nightmare, dinosaur cat. That's tokens, I guess. It says tokens in parentheses. And again, these are all Commander exclusives. What are 2 different creature types you want to see blended together? I like the dinosaur. I like a lot of dinosaur mixture up. I hope a lot of dinosaurs do appear in the base or the standard Ikoria set, because that would be amazing. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Also, MTG's 4th Trilobite. I think I'm saying that right. These are the 3 that came before. We are finally going to get our 4th one. Yes, Electrite was determined at some point over the last decade or so, way past Urza Saga, that it is now going to be a Trilobite. It's no longer a beast. So there you go. Wizards has the power to change. It's their game. That's what they did. So you got the Shorekeeper, Electrite, and Scuttling Sliver. And there's a new one on the way. Maybe it's going to be a mythic, because if you notice something, we got a common, an uncommon, and a rare. Urza Saga. Man, I forgot all about this card. The second I saw the artwork, I'm like, oh yeah. But will this have an impact? Are we going to see a tribe? No, you're not going to see tribal anything of this nature. But maybe if you're able to mutate cards into something else, and then all your cards become Trilobite, I don't know. That might be something. But this seems like it's going to be a very exciting one. There's no card spoilers just yet, okay? But we did receive some text. So this is going to actually be on some of the cards, okay? Verbatim. You and Planeswalkers you control gain protection from that player. That's pretty legit. Yeah. So I think if you forced your opponent to sacrifice or something like that, maybe you wouldn't, your opponent wouldn't have to do that. Just anything, you're protected from your player, from the other player and Planeswalkers. That's kind of nutty. So anything that player would make you do, auras, I don't know. Let's not get too crazy into that one, but that's pretty neat. You may pay 0 rather than. Now that's going to be interesting right there. You may pay 0 rather than. Rather than what? Rather than pay this spell's mana cost if you sacrifice a creature? Maybe something weird like that. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense, though. Whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, That sounds fun. So, I mean, we were kind of gearing up towards that. Look at that huge behemoth we had come out last set, where it triples like the amount a land taps for, you know, or anything that taps for mana for that reason. That could be another side. That, you know, we were heading this direction with X spells. So X is gonna matter, and there's some cards that aren't seeing a heck ton of play that do have X in their casting cost. I wish I would have included them in this video, but also spend this mana only to activate abilities, and that's written on a creature. I suppose. Okay, so a lot of very interesting thoughts here. Not even thoughts, interesting texts we're going to be seeing. This is a lot of hype going on here. Another thing, 8 returning mechanics. That's for Commander exclusive. I'm sure we are going to be getting new mechanics. We'll get into that in a second. There will be 41 cards that mention counters in their text, coming from a total of 71 new IKORIA Commander cards. That's like over 50%. That's a very large chunk. Is going to have is going to be mentioning counters. Now, is that going to roll over into standard? I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. And there's one card, Rolesk Apex Hybrid, baby. One card I've been waiting to see get some attention, but hey, with that proliferate, when it dies, it proliferates twice. That's pretty sweet, and it puts 2 counters on creature when it enters the battlefield. That's pretty sweet also. With flying, it just hasn't taken off. But this set may be the set where we see something like that. I'm sorry, that's a sidetrack. I'm just kind of hype about that. Maybe it'll happen now. Experience counters will return. So the return of experience counters is something to look forward to as well. Release dates. Now, the official IKORIA release dates may be delayed, okay, because of what's going on around the world right now. So there may be a delay in this. However, I don't know if that is going to affect Arena. I'm not sure of that. But you have the sealed IKORIA LAIR Behemoths April 16th, 2020 through May 10th, 2020. We'll see. Traditional draft. There it is. Ranked draft. All this good stuff. It could possibly be delayed, guys, which would really stink, man. It really can be. Expected MTG Arena release is scheduled for April 16th, 2020. There it is in a nutshell. What are your thoughts on this? We're going to have some very large creatures, some mutations. What do you think it's going to look like? Are they going to be cheap? Are these creatures going to be just like 10, 10, 15, 15, 25? What if we have something bigger than the Great Worm? That is the largest legal card in Magic the Gathering. It's a 16/16, then followed by like Emrakul. And then you have was it BDM or whatever, or BFM, Big Effin' Monster or whatever it is called, from one of those unsets. But that's a $99.99. That doesn't even count. It's on 2 cards too. But this is really cool. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think it's all gonna look like? Are you excited? Are you gonna be purchasing into this? Are you gonna wait to decide if you're gonna buy? If you're gonna use pre-order? Are you gonna pre-order but wait until you see some spoilers? What's going to happen? It's all in the air, man. But tune back into the channel for IKORIA spoilers within the next week, because they're going to be dropping on us pretty soon. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Take a moment, punch that like button. It does help out a lot. And again, really, let me know your thoughts, because this is a fun little topic right now. Also, I heard Arena's down. Is it still down? I don't know. Because I was going to make an Arena video, but I couldn't. All right, take a look at these other vids. Skadoosh.